Hello everybody, I just wanted to give you a rundown on my greenhouse. So this is a greenhouse with a bit of a difference. So we've got an aquaponics system going on in here. Some of you will know, some of you maybe won't. Aquaponics means that all the plants in here are all watered all of the time. They're growing in water, and then the fish in the pond provide the water with the nutrients and the fertilizers that they need to grow. So this is a completely self-sufficient system. There's Jess. She'd love to watch a few fish. So what we have here is we've got about 10 little shabunkin fish in here. They're only little at the minute. Ideally you would have something edible in here, you know, maybe carp or something like that you could have a full cycle, you know, eat the fish. Fish provide you with the food, and then they breed and so on and so forth. But at the minute we've just got shabunkins, they're very little ones there. So the water gets pumped up into this bed here. This is got a bell siphon bed, so the water level will go right up, and then it'll reach a certain point and it'll all siphon back out again. Now I haven't anything sewn in here yet, but that'll happen soon. So the water goes then on round to this bed, which is just a crate full of substrate. A few wee bits and pieces, tomatoes and stuff, very small seedlings in here. Haven't done very much yet, but they'll get there. It goes down this chute into this bed here. Now this bed's doing really nicely. This is full of herbs, so you can see there's parsley there. It's actually bolted, it's gone to flower, so I need to trim that down, stop it from happening, or need to use it. And we've got curry, smells beautiful. A few different other bits and bobs. Water comes down that chute into this bed. We've got mint doing really nicely. I've tried strawberries this year. Strawberries are doing lovely, so I'll do more of that next year. I think the best crop would be strawberries and tomatoes, I think, is what we're going to do mostly next year. So yes, the water comes down this channel, or guttering, into this bed, which is full of salad. So there's rocket, and we've sown an iceberg and a few different lettuces. Does really nicely in this aquaponics system, but you got to get in there before the slugs, is the only thing. And then there's another flower bed here. Well, it's not a flower bed, but it's full of substrate, which will filter all the water as it goes back into the pond here. And the fish are waiting to get fed. So that's the system we have. Seems to work really nicely, and the best thing is there's no watering. So leaving here, we go on to the rest of the garden. Just show you around very briefly. That's another dog, Higgs. Just want to show you this tree here. It's one of my favourites in the garden. It's an ornamental pear tree, and it is absolutely beautiful. The shape and the foliage, the silver colour, and the birds just love it as well. That's really pretty. There's a bit of a foresty bit over here, full of rowboats and so on. So over here we've got a bit of a bamboo area, which is great because it's a beautiful rustling in the wind. On a nice windy day you see the movement and you can hear it, and it must be planted, I would imagine, 15-20 years to have grown that much. So that's very nice. Onto this flower bed, our vegetable bed here. I've just got I've only really just manured this very recently. This rotted horse manure, so it's real nice fertile stuff full of worms. Put seaweed in, and I put a bit of bloodfish and bone. So I've only got planted my brassicas. I've got cabbage and broccoli, and there's courgettes here as well, which I'm hoping are going to do something. You can see the edges there where the badger has been hooking up the manure to get the worms. Just going to very quickly show you through to where we've got a few fruit trees. So if we come around here, down this path, I'll try and hurry this up a bit, we come to a few plum trees. So these are wee Marabelle plum trees, and the first year we moved in here we had massive amount of crop. There were loads and loads and loads, and we thought this is great. But the next year we had nothing. I thought, okay, that's fine, maybe they're a biannual crop. But ever since, about 5 years now, we've had no plums off these trees at all, and they flower every year. You know, they flower and they threaten to produce fruit, but they just don't for some reason. There's a couple of apple trees here as well that have got a little bit big, and they all need to get a chainsaw out and trim all this down. It's all a little bit massive, but no matter. So that's that. Very briefly, there's a few bits and pieces going on here, a few shrubs and roses and all the usual bits and pieces, hydrangeas and bits and bobs. So over here we have a few Belfast sinks with lupins that are in a dire need of watering. Old bathtub, which is great, foxgloves and lupins and succulents. I usually grow sweet pea off that latticing as well. The next job over there I want to do is put chickens in. That's in a couple of days time, so I need to get a bit of a run up. And just to show you very briefly, this is a great job. This is pallet seating, as you can see, 3 pallets high, very very simple. Set them on top of each other, a few fence boards, and that is a really nice area. That's basically our outdoor living room, you know. Coming down here, we put a bit of a pond in a couple of years ago. It's got a little bit overgrown, but sure, a bit wild around the edges is okay. Very small. It's only maybe knee depth. We didn't want anything too big, and it's actually nice because it's sort of returning back to nature now. I've got a yellow flag irises, a bit of parrot feather. There's a few fish hiding in there somewhere. Saw a couple of frogs one year. That filter system is just again substrate that comes down, keeps the water nice and fresh. As you can see, it's basically a drinking bowl for the dogs. Over here, a few more little fuchsias and bits and pieces. A sycamore tree. And down to this little spot, which I'm keen to show you. This is the river. So, this time of year it's absolutely beautiful, but it's a bit of a raging torrent in winter time. It's really unbelievable, the flow down here. So this is the little river. I have a few box hedges in there just getting watered. So this is just a lovely tranquil spot. I have a little seat there that you can sit and watch the water go by. There's a path across there that I can go over to the field with the dogs. And on up here. Now most years we would hang a hammock up here on the bough of this tree. A little cocoon hammock, which is really nice, but I haven't done it yet this year. And then there's a pool up here. You probably can't make it out too well, but it's quite a deep pool, you know, it would be waist depth. And that's where a lot of fish are. There was a wee fish was jumping around earlier. And there's a big heron that comes down. Every day he comes down for a fish, gets his breakfast. One year his breakfast was the fish in our pond, but no matter. Yeah, so this is a little chill spot. And there's a forest just been planted about 2 years ago across the road, so they're all little saplings that are coming on. You maybe can't make them out there in this video, not very good. And yeah, so that's my garden where I've been hanging out during the last few months, and just wanted to share it with you. So thanks for joining me, and we'll see you again. Cheerio.